Lots to get to on this Tuesday afternoon. We want to begin here, though, with the weather. Multiple rounds of strong to severe storms are possible over the next 48 hours. Good afternoon. Great to have you with us at 4 o'clock today. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Anne-Marie in for Felicia, who's off today. Sean is also with us right now, and we're kicking off our coverage with this look ahead to this weather.
Yeah, I know it's hard to understand because we had sunshine for a good portion of the day. It felt great this morning, and now we are getting ready for the first of a couple of rounds of thunderstorms. Some of these will be severe here this evening. I expect we're going to be placed under a watch at some point. It may be a tornado watch. Even if it's not, some of these storms are going to rotate here this evening. We still got some quiet time to enjoy. Here's temperatures with radar. 76 now in Indy. That leading edge that we had earlier with the showers is now moving east. Lafayette has boosted up to 73. These are the new cells developing as a cold front approaches that area, and that's what's going to be the trigger. So we've got much colder air aloft over top of the temperatures that are relatively mild, and then there you go. We're seeing the new storms pop up. Been looking at some of the ingredients in place. Definitely going to support these cells to increase rapidly between now and 6 p.m. over the northwestern part of the state. Could have some severe hail. That's possible some of them could rotate, making it into the metro area by the time we get to about 8 p.m. And then we'll see this line, which will be scattered to at times numerous, kind of moving toward the south and east by the time we get toward 10 p.m., still impacting parts of south central Indiana. And then as we get into about 11 o'clock, those storms are going to run their course. We'll shut the severe weather down for tonight. Bigger system on the way for tomorrow. We have the latest on that weather impact alert with a high impact weather event expected for parts of central Indiana.
Senator Graham also said that an eventual agreement with Iran should be sent to Congress for review. Would you do that?
I never thought of it, but I would. I wouldn't mind. I mean, you know, the Democrats, you know, we call them Democrats because they're dumb people. The Democrats are, well, what I'd like to do is send it to Congress saying you shouldn't approve it, and I'll get it approved. Because they do, whatever I say, they want to do the opposite. It's not working too well for them, by the way. But yeah, I never thought about sending it, never even thought about it, but I will. I will send it to Congress. I like the idea.
National and global news with a local impact. A big question that many are asking right now. How will this new deal with U.S. and Iran impact what we pay for gas? How will it impact potentially what we pay for food?
And keep in mind, we're still waiting to see specific details on this deal. President Trump says those won't be released until Friday when the deal is actually signed. That's set to happen in Switzerland. But here's what we do know right now. The preliminary deal will extend the U.S.-Iran ceasefire for 60 days. It's going to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and create a framework for future negotiations over Tehran's nuclear program.
And also a possible impact to our economy. Tomorrow, Kevin Warsh is going to chair his first Federal Reserve rate setting meeting. Now, the markets are expecting that the Fed is going to hold interest rates steady. That's what they're projecting right now. And that's despite what the president is asking for. He is pushing for cuts. Economists say rising inflation has made it all but impossible right now for the Fed to cut rates anytime soon, which could stimulate growth and further raise prices. Meantime, what about agriculture? Farmers weighing in. They're not just feeling increased energy prices. They also are dealing with the impact of those recent tariffs with China.
And today we're getting a better understanding of how much these tariffs are hurting Hoosier farmers in particular. A new report, it's out of North Dakota State University, shows farmers here are losing hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's right. Our Samantha Johnson spent the day here at a local farm to talk about where they're feeling the heat.
Jason Maxwell is a fifth-generation farmer. He works on 2,000 acres in Morgan County.
We grow corn and soybeans. Family's been here since in the 1800s. Grain bins where the corn and soybeans are stored at. And here's where the semis come in. We have scales there. Majority of everything right here around the farm is soybeans this year.
And just like any other business, things cost money and more money these days.
It's gotten pretty hard pretty fast. Inflation the past couple years has been rough on everyone. That's not just farmers, that's everybody.
And with recent trade tariffs with China, this new report finds Indiana farmers lost $607 million.
We're holding on. I mean, this isn't the first time in history that farmers have kind of taken the brunt of what's going on in the world.
When you close the market to the number one buyer of soybeans, that's going to have a dramatic effect on farm revenue and price.
Todd Davis is the chief economist for Indiana Farm Bureau. He says the tariffs combined with inflation is pushing farmers to the edge. The direct impact on Indiana farmers is clear. According to Farm Bureau, 2 years ago, there were no farmers that filed for bankruptcy. Last year, there were 9, and so far this year, there are already 5 Indiana farmers who have filed.
You can't really hedge against policy, and so you have to deal with it the best you can.
I mean, you have a season, you have to go out, you have to plant, you have to spray, you have to harvest.
And with crops in the ground for this season, Maxwell waits, hoping the wind will turn and time will tell a new story.
I mean, that's all you can do is just hope and pray that maybe next year will be better.
In Morgan County, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
Hoping and waiting. And for some context here, remember, farming is big in Indiana. It's one of our biggest industries. Agriculture contributes to more than $35 billion to the state's economy every year, supporting nearly 190,000 jobs.
New today, a burglary investigation now underway. At this restaurant, it's Hoagies and Hops. It's on the north side. It's near Butler University's campus. Police say these images and the burglary happened this morning around 6 o'clock. The restaurant's located on Boulevard Place. And the restaurant posted this photo on their Facebook page with the caption, "Welp." The police report lists a tablet register as missing as a result.
Well, what can we do? Hope somebody gets caught. All right, today we learned Indiana now has more flexibility in how we spend federal education funding.
We learned this after the U.S. Education Secretary made a visit today for the announcement to Indiana. She says this is going to save the state millions of dollars. We wanted to learn more about that. So Jenna Webster dug into this story for us today, and she lets us know how much this impacts what the state gets.
Yeah, I think the big question when a lot of people see this when we're talking about saving money, Indiana is not getting any more or less funding as a result of this. It's just going to consolidate some grant funding programs into a single funding pool. So the waiver approved today will merge 5 federal funding streams all into one. U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon and Indiana Secretary of Education Katie Jenner say this will give Indiana some more discretion over $50 million. That's over 4 years. Those areas that are merging have to do with grants covering assessments, professional development, education for English learners, enrichment, and 21st century learning centers.
So why do this? What exactly is the thinking here to make this decision?
Yeah, well, at the basic level, it means that the state can spend more or less money in any one of these areas. They kind of have that discretion to do that. The state says they want to be able to redirect resources to spend more money on its top priorities, things like early literacy. They say it'll save $20 million over 4 years in those compliance costs. The waiver the federal government approved today is not as expansive as what Indiana actually requested last year. The biggest is that it does not approve the state's request to redirect school improvement grant funding away from schools seen as low performing. There were some concerns with that request that would have diverted $25 million a year to other schools like charters or micro schools. Now, I just talked to the executive director of the Indiana School Boards Association to get his take on all this, whether or not they support it. So you're going to hear from him tonight at 5, what things he supports, what he was glad to see end up in this.
Yeah, with this news just coming out today, everyone's trying to sort out what is the real impact for these different programs.
And to hear from everybody who's impacted by it. Look forward to more. Thank you very much, Jenna.